We only have about 6 minutes left, so I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to touch on utilities, and even construction sequence if you think we have time and if there's any overlap there. But what do you think are the most important things to consider regarding utilities and validation in of that sort? Whoever, Eric or Fred, Erman, would you like to speak to that?
Eric, why don't you start
Yeah,
that?
so I'll try to wrap a couple of those topics into one train of thought.
We appreciate it.
We're still say things are normal again in terms of purchasing equipment. When you're looking at a timeline for a project, it's going to come down to a lot of the utility systems. We're still facing challenges with switchgear. So switchgear may be the thing that drives your facility. You may be able to put walls, ceilings in, and not have switchgear until the very end. You may be in a spot where, because the particular size chiller that you're looking for or duty, that becomes your limiting factor. And what happens then, particularly with the switchgear hit, is all those utilities, all the commissioning, qualification of all those utility systems gets pushed out. So you get okay, I can't start qualifying I can't do any commissioning on my chiller. I can't start up my boiler. I can't do that until I have power. Okay, well, and then after I get those systems, okay, now I can go start up my Wi-Fi system. And then go through my process of startup and commissioning on that. And so when you look at all these things, it comes down to understanding for your particular scope and what's going to be your big driver there. And it's just, you need to work with a good construction manager who can help manage some of that, or some other expediter to find, is there a better way to do this? Is there another vendor for switchgear? Is there another opportunity to try to mitigate some of these things and keep yourselves on a good timeline? Because you don't want to build a facility and put the switchgear at the very last minute, then power things up, and after they've been sitting there for a couple months, find out things are not working right.
Yeah. We had that issue where we went to a particular building. We thought everything was wonderful, but there was not enough slots in the transformer. So we had to order a whole nother transformer, and then we had to change off a lot of switchgear just to power the facility. The things that we're seeing change in utility areas is lots of power, TCUs for heating and cooling. How about suite by suite routers for Wi-Fi? We're looking for wireless connectivity because we don't want to have lots of connections and lots of 4 to 20 milliamp signals all over the place. We want to have everything as digital and very, very easy so we can move things in and out. We're seeing less purified water, everybody using more WFI. And we're seeing a little bit change in the philosophy. We built a facility, we designed it and built a facility that they came to me and they said, we have 26 janitorial closets that need WFI in them for the janitorial closets. And every single one of the drops is going to cost about $300,000 a piece based upon the valving and the extension of the lines and whatever. So I said, eliminate it all, buy your water. So we're seeing a lot more with buying some of the smaller ends of the utilities. We're seeing a little with the single-use disposables. We're capturing more of the liquids and so on in single-use disposables and having them taken out as opposed to putting them down a drain. We're seeing also a lot more exotic gases that need to be piped in and separated all in these different rooms. So that's one thing. The other thing I wanted just to touch back on is about the validation of the HVAC system. When we would design the facilities now, everybody in the past used to like to customize the HVAC system. We don't do that anymore. We go to a vendor like Trane, we buy a standard package off the shelf. We buy the standard air handlers, exhaust fans, humidifications, boilers, chillers, whatever they have in stock, even if we have to oversize it, we're buying those. And when the units, then they can get into the manufacturing relatively quickly, a little bit of small amount of design effort. And then when they're done, Most of these vendors, like specifically I'll talk about Train, they have test rigs. So you get all the design information as soon as you order it. So you can start writing your protocols for the IQs and OQs. They put them on the test rigs for you. They power them up. And now you can do more of the OQ, the instrumentation checkout, and everything before it actually put on the back of a tractor trailer and brought to your facility. So buying standards, using the test rigs of the HVAC people is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. Thank you, Herman. Fred, anything to add there?
I did have one thing. Yeah, I did have one thing to add to that, and that's when you're doing the front end planning and the conceptual design, the basis of design. The process is going to drive the utility demand, and those utilities will be identified very early up front what the process is requiring, whether it's WFI, whether it's CIP, whether it's compressed air, pharma grade air, whatever the case may be. The infrastructure has to be evaluated and analyzed fairly soon in the very early in the overall design, so that if you're low on chiller capacity or whatever the case may be, that's identified early. And it can be addressed as far as putting two new chillers into the overall budget for the project. You don't want to discover that you're out of chiller capacity, or power, at the end of the detailed design phase, because it's a huge impact on cost. So if you plan ahead and make sure that you evaluate the existing infrastructure of the facility, particularly the utilities, that will save a lot of grief and a lot of cost in the long run.